In the zombie apocalypse, under a 30-story building, countless bullets were firing at them, but still couldn't hold back the terrifying horde. The plane on the rooftop helipad would be the final extraction point. I led the troops and was about to board the plane for evacuation. My wife Su Wanqing spread her arms and stood firmly in front of the gangway to the only transport helicopter. "Wait 10 more minutes, just 10 minutes, Li Muyang said, "He'll be here soon." There was a near-obsessive stubbornness in her eyes, just to wait for her good-for-nothing, troublemaking sworn brother Li Muyang. This was the last evacuation operation organized by the human resistance in this area, codenamed Spark. The zombie horde is closing in. Every second of delay diminishes our chance of survival. Our Dawn squad fought bloodily just to get here. This isn't just a path to life, it's the spark for civilization survival. But Su Wanqing didn't care about any of that. In her world, it seemed only that brother Muyang, who always needed her care, and always messed up at critical moments, mattered the most. Seeing the thick smoke rising from the distant skyline and the faint roars getting closer, the team members' emotions were on the verge of collapse. "Sister-in-law, we can't wait any longer. The vanguard of the zombie horde will be here in at most 5 minutes. Machine gunner Wang Meng was so anxious the veins on his forehead bulged. "Sister Wanqing, for everyone's sake, please step aside." Medic Xiao Yu begged with tears in her voice. "We have to go." But Su Wanqing, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, snapped back. 5 minutes. 5 minutes can save a life. Are you all so heartless? Muyang is our comrade too. Comrade? What does he do besides hold us back? Didn't we lose so much ammo last time because he messed with the supplies? Vice Captain Lao Zhang's face turned pale with anger. Someone tried to forcibly pull her away, but Su Wanqing suddenly drew a flare gun from her waist, waving it wildly. "Who dares to come near? I said wait, and we wait, you selfish bastards." Facing the shocked and angry crowd, I, Chen Feng, as captain of the Dawn squad, slowly raised my hand. The squad fell silent instantly, looking at me. In my past life, this is where I softened, knocked Su Wanqing out, dragged her onto the chopper, and set off the whole chain of tragedies. In the end, when I'd made it big, just about to lead the counterattack, she drugged me and pushed me into the zombie horde. I died with hatred, the sneer on her face from atop the wall. I remember it clearly. If you hadn't refused to wait a little longer back then, brother Muyang wouldn't have died. You owe him, and you'll pay with your life. Now, I've been reborn, back at this fateful crossroads. Watching Su Wanqing, that crazed look of brandishing a blade at me, at the whole squad, for another man, the last shred of warmth in my heart, died out completely. Since she wants to live and die with Li Muyang so bad, then this time, I'll let them. I took a deep breath, and a calm smile appeared on my face, totally out of place with the tense atmosphere. "Wanqing is right," I said, my voice not loud, but it stunned everyone. Even Su Wanqing, knife in hand, froze. "Muyang is one of us, leaving him behind really isn't right." Su Wanqing looked at me suspiciously, but her guard lowered a little. "Chen Feng, you really mean that?" I nodded, stepped forward, and gently pushed down her gun hand. My tone was eerily gentle. "Of course, after all, we're a team." Watching Su Wanqing smile, I thought to myself, go ahead, smile. This time, I won't be soft. Since you chose him, then you can stay here, with him, reborn in the apocalypse. This time, I live for myself. Revenge has only just begun. I turned to my team members. Their faces are full of confusion and anxiety. "Captain, you, Chen Feng, this is too dangerous." "Captain, snap out of it." "Just for Su Wanqing alone, are you going to make our whole team die with her?" Gunner A, Kai's eyes are bloodshot. He almost charges at me, grabbing my collar. "Everyone, shut up." The assault rifle in Su Wanqing's hand spits flames again. Bullets hit the concrete at everyone's feet, sending sparks flying. Chen Feng has already decided. We must wait for Muyang. Anyone who dares to say another word, don't blame me for being rude. With my support, Su Wanqing's momentum is even stronger now. She's like a mother leopard protecting her cubs, glaring viciously at every team member who dares to show dissatisfaction. She puts away her gun, turns around and tightly hugs my arm. Her voice instantly becomes soft and sweet. "Chen Feng, you're the one who treats me best. I knew it. You're different from those selfish guys. You value loyalty the most." I feel the warmth on my arm, a seemingly gentle smile curling at the corner of my mouth. I gently pat her cold hand. "Muyang is like my own brother. How could I possibly abandon him?" At this moment, Su Wanqing is completely intoxicated by the false victory and has lost her mind. She has no idea that I am no longer the fool who was played in the palm of her hand in my past life. As a top network engineer who has mastered the Dawn base's highest authority keys, the microcommunicator on my wrist is directly connected to the military region's highest command. Once I press that button, within 10 minutes, a heavily armed VTOL transport from the base will arrive right above us. My squad members, each one is an elite pick from thousands. Tactical experts, weapons masters, top medics, except for Su Wanqing and her brother who's nothing but a deadweight, Li Muyang. In my past life, it was because of my ridiculous sentimentality that I chose to bring along the worthless Su Wanqing, abandoning my exclusive extraction. and taking this dangerous evacuation route that drained public resources. That led to a series of tragedies afterward. In this life, I won't make the same mistake. I'll watch Su Wanqing and her precious brother Mu Yang as their self-righteous devotion and selfishness drag them step by step into the abyss of despair. Their lives I'll take with my own hands. Seeing me override all objections and take control, Su Wanqing's smugness grew even stronger. She even shot a defiant glare at a few veteran members. Time passed in suffocating anxiety. In the distance, the zombie tide, like a black flood, was already visible to the naked eye. The dull roars grew closer, the air reeked of decay and death. Just as everyone's nerves were stretched to the breaking point, a tall, thin figure finally stumbled into view at the edge of the tarmac. Wanqing, Chen Feng, I knew it, I knew you'd wait for me. Li Muyang, having fled in panic, was out of breath, but his face beamed with the euphoria of survival, as if just making it here was some great achievement. Su Wanqing let out a long sigh of relief, a radiant smile blooming on her face, as if all the waiting had been worth it. However, at that very moment, an earth-shattering explosion came from the direction of the city's last line of defense. Towering flames lit up half the sky. The main force of the zombie horde had broken through. Almost the same moment the explosion went off, the rescue helicopter that had been hovering the pilot had clearly received a final order. The cabin door began to close slowly. The engine roared loudly. The rotors spun faster, kicking up a cloud of dust. No, wait, we still have people here. A team member tried to rush over, but was forced back by the helicopter's downwash. In the end, the helicopter, carrying only a handful of lucky survivors, didn't hesitate to climb, and flew off into the distance, leaving the helipad in complete silence. Then came an eruption of shouts. Su Wanqing, you crazy bitch, you've gotten us all killed. Akai was the first to roar, slamming his fist hard into a nearby discarded fuel tank, producing a dull thud. And that Li Muyang, of all times to show up, did you time it just right to pick up our bodies? Last night you had to go back for your damn laptop. Got your ancestors' spirit tablets in there or something? Medic Xiao Yu was also so furious she couldn't choose her words, tears welling up in her eyes. The helipad erupted in curses. Despair and anger gripped everyone. Li Muyang, faced with this, turned ashen with fear, cowering behind Su Wanqing, clutching his damn laptop, shaking like a leaf. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. This laptop, it's got some really important photos. He stammered in defense, his voice barely a whisper, but everyone there heard him loud and clear. The team members now all turned to look at me, their eyes full of disappointment and confusion. Captain, we've always trusted your judgment, but this time you've really let us down, Vice Captain Lao Zhang said hoarsely, with a heavy sigh of regret. On my face, I wore a look of remorse and guilt. Taking a deep breath, I said to everyone, it's my fault. I shouldn't have let personal feelings affect my judgment. But talking about it now, it's too late. Everyone, calm down. I know nearby there's an abandoned underground shelter. Let's take cover there for now, and figure things out from there. But Su Wanqing put her arm around the terrified Li Muyang, and snorted dismissively. What's there to be afraid of? With Chen Feng here, it's not like he'd let us die. If not this time, we'll just wait for the next evacuation. He'll find a way. Her words were like pouring oil on the fire. The team members looked at her, their eyes practically shooting flames. Some of them even picked up their guns, as if in the next moment, they were about to blow her head off. But with the horde closing in, now really isn't the time for infighting. Leaving the final evacuation point, that hopeless tarmac, I led the remaining members of Dawn's squad toward the abandoned underground bunker. We remembered that emergency shelter. Quick, keep up. The squad members were exhausted, but survival instinct and long-term training kept them in basic tactical formation. Machine gunner Wang Meng and gunner Akai brought up the rear. Their heavy gear weighed them down. Sweat soaked their combat uniforms. Medic Xiao Yu, Deputy Chief Zhang, and others were also fully armed, carrying most of the squad's remaining ammo and precious supplies. In contrast, Su Wanqing and Li Muyang were practically traveling light. Su Wanqing only carried a small backpack, and she even had to support a gasping Li Muyang. Li Muyang was even worse. Aside from the battered laptop he clutched to his chest, he carried almost nothing. He stumbled along, pale as a sheet. Brother Muyang, slow down, watch your step. Su Wanqing's voice, in this tense atmosphere, was especially grating. She kept stopping to wait for Li Muyang, or pat his back to help him breathe. You guys, slow down. Can't you see Brother Muyang can't keep up? Su Wanqing complained to the scouts ahead. He's frail, he can't take this. Wang Meng turned and growled. Sis, the horde is right behind us. Slow down, we'll all die. What do you mean die? Didn't Chen Feng say there's cover? Su Wanqing glared back without backing down. Then she looked at the laptop in Li Muyang's arms. Su Wanqing's eyes flickered to the technician carrying the heavy communication equipment beside her. Xiao Lu said, Xiao Lu, you're young and strong. What's wrong with helping Brother Muyang carry the computer? He's tired from carrying it while running. Xiao Lu's face turned red with anger. He was about to argue, but I stopped him with a look. Now is not the time for infighting. Li Muyang took the opportunity. He immediately handed the laptop to Xiao Lu, while saying, sorry for the trouble, Xiao Lu, the photos in here are really important. Xiao Lu gritted his teeth, turning his head away, completely ignoring him. This sight made the team members disgust towards these two deepen even more, but under the threat of the approaching horde, everyone had to suppress their anger and push on desperately. Along the way, we encountered a few scattered zombies. All were quickly dealt with, but the gunfire attracted more attention. Detours, hiding, brief skirmishes. A mere 1 kilometer journey took us nearly an hour to finally make it. When the door of the bunker, disguised as an abandoned garage entrance, appeared before us, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Quick, get in. I directed the team members to quickly enter the dark, descending tunnel. The last ones in were Wang Meng and Kai. They pushed the heavy blast door together, the hinges screeching with metallic friction, accompanied by the rapidly approaching teeth-grinding scratches and roars outside. A few fast-moving zombies had already reached the door, their skinny arms and hideous faces trying to squeeze through the closing gap. Push. I step forward, race the door with my shoulder. All available team members rush over, push together. The blast door finally seals shut. A heavy lock clicks into place, temporarily shutting out all the noise and danger outside. Almost the instant the door closes, a barrage of pounding comes from outside, and frantic howling. It's like countless hands are hammering against this last barrier. The blast door booms dully, but doesn't budge. Inside, there's only the ragged breathing of the team. We're safe, damn it, what terrible luck. Deputy Captain Lao Zhang leans against the cold wall, sliding down to sit on the floor, his voice hoarse. Finally, Kai also collapses to the ground, slamming his fist hard against the floor. Xiao Yu takes out a dim light source and starts quickly checking if any team members were injured during the running and fighting just now. Everyone is completely exhausted. However, this brief calm is immediately shattered by a displeased voice. What the hell is this place? Dark and cold, and it smells musty. Su Wanqing pinches her nose, looking around disdainfully at this underground space filled with dust and the smell of rusted metal. Chen Feng, you brought us to a place like this for shelter? There's not even a decent bed. Hearing this, the team members all cast furious looks her way. But after days of running around and the effort of closing the door drained everyone's last bit of strength, no one can be bothered to argue with her right now. But the hatred in their eyes hasn't diminished one bit. Lao Zhang closes his eyes, his chest heaving, his fists clenched tight. Wang Meng turns his head away, not wanting to look at her again. I ignore Su Wanqing's complaints, and signal Xiao Yu to distribute a small amount of drinking water to everyone. I leaned against a supply crate myself, resting my eyes. The tiny communicator screen on my wrist in the dark flickered an almost imperceptible green light. Just as everyone caught their breath and thought we had a moment of respite, the comms technician Xiao Lu suddenly jerked his head up. He had been trying to tune that bulky military radio. Captain, there's a signal. It's an encrypted military frequency. Xiao Lu's voice was trembling slightly. He quickly jotted down signal content, but his face turned paler. Everyone held their breath and looked at Xiao Lu. A moment later, Xiao Lu took off his headphones, his face ashen. He looked at us, his lips quivering, barely able to form a complete sentence. Command, the latest from command. The final extraction point has been overrun by the horde. The resistance has fully withdrawn from the area. All survivors have been declared missing or dead. Rescue efforts are abandoned. The news hit like a thunderbolt, echoing in the cramped cave. What? They've given up on us? Kai shot to his feet, shouting in disbelief. No way, we're still here, we're still alive. Wang Meng's eyes instantly reddened. Xiao Yu's tears suddenly streamed down her face. She sobbed quietly. How could this happen? We've held on for so long. Old Zhang took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. The last chance to evacuate is gone. We've been abandoned. Impossible. Xiao Lu, send out a signal. We're still alive. The despair in old Zhang's voice was undeniable. The atmosphere dropped to freezing point. 3 years. Ever since the base construction training started, we've faced countless comrade sacrifices. We finally made it to the evac point, only to lose it to those damn 10 minutes. What we got in the end was nothing but a complete abandonment. Just as everyone was about to be crushed by this immense despair, and pushed to the brink of collapse, hey, are you serious? All of you with long faces? So rescue is a little late. So what? Don't we have supplies? Look, this is enough to last us a while. Let's just wait. There will definitely be more rescue. Making a mountain out of a molehill. Her words were like a fuse, igniting the team members' long-suppressed anger instantly. Su Wanqing, do you have any conscience? If it weren't for you, we would have been on that plane long ago. How did we end up in this mess? And now you're making sarcastic remarks? Exactly, you and that useless brother of yours. It's because of the two of you. What did I do? Was it wrong for me to wait for Muyang? He's our teammate. You're the ones who are cold-blooded, selfish. Now that we're abandoned, you blame me. Who knows if it's you all who offended the higher-ups. You, enough. My low voice rang out. Though not loud, it carried an undeniable authority. It temporarily calmed the nearly out-of-control scene. Under the gaze of everyone despairing, angry, or numb, I slowly stood up. I walked to the center of the bunker, to a relatively open area. Then, under everyone's puzzled gaze, I raised my wrist and operated that seemingly ordinary military communicator, skillfully entering a long string of complex passwords. The communicator's screen lit up with a dim blue light. A special interface unfolded. "Everyone, calm down," I began, my voice steady, carrying a strange soothing power. "We haven't been abandoned yet." I raised the communicator, letting the encrypted connection signal on the screen and the indicator of high clearance be clearly visible. I just got through a special channel and contacted Base High Command directly. They received our location data and confirmation of survival. These words were like a spark thrown into darkness, instantly igniting hope in everyone. "Captain, is what you're saying true? Chen, the higher-ups? Will the higher-ups really come to rescue us?" I nodded affirmatively. My eyes swept over faces that were rekindled with life. Yes, as captain of the Dawn Squad, and with the clearance from the Spark preparatory mission that we completed earlier, I sent them an emergency distress signal. Command has confirmed they will dispatch a dedicated rescue unit to pick us up. Dedicated rescue? That's great, Captain. I knew you'd find a way. The team members gathered around, asking about details in a flurry of voices. The gloom on their faces vanished, replaced by the exhilaration of surviving against all odds and absolute trust in me. Su Wanqing, upon hearing my affirmative answer, was stunned at first, then a brilliant smile spread across her face. She grabbed the hand of Li Muyang, who was also stunned, and shook it joyfully. "Muyang, did you hear that?" Chen Feng said. "There will be rescue. We're saved. I told you, with Chen Feng here, everything will be fine." Yeah, Captain Chen Feng is really something. Wanqing, you have good judgment. The two of them, acting as if all the credit belonged to them, and without a shred of guilt, made the team members who had just found hope feel a strong wave of disgust. Watching Su Wanqing and Li Muyang's undisguised intimacy, and then looking at me, her nominal fiancé, a few veteran team members exchanged glances, each seeing the dissatisfaction and confusion in the other's eyes. What exactly is my sister-in-law thinking? The captain is her fiancé. What are you looking at? Chen Feng didn't say anything. It's none of your business. Muyang and I just have a pure sibling bond. Chen Feng wouldn't be that petty. I kept a straight face, as if I hadn't heard her, nor did I see the looks from the team members full of questions and confusion. I just sneered inwardly. Sibling bond. In my past life, I was blinded by this so-called sibling bond. It clouded my eyes. In the end, what I got was a knife in the back, and being pushed into a horde of zombies. In this life, you guys just keep putting on your show. Seeing that I remained silent, as if I tacitly agreed with Su Wanqing's words. Although the team members were resentful, they could only suppress their discontent. Now the most important thing is to wait for rescue. Hope was rekindled. The atmosphere in the bunker was no longer so dead silent. The team members began following my orders, taking inventory of supplies, checking equipment, and taking turns to rest, to recover their strength. After a while, Vice Captain Zhang, while helping me organize my gear, his eyes casually swept over the communicator on my wrist that I had just shown earlier. When his gaze landed on a corner of the screen, an extremely tiny, almost imperceptible special symbol, his body stiffened. That was the mark of a highest-level emergency rescue request, and usually followed by a number. Zhang's expression changed slightly. He approached me discreetly, lowering his voice. "Chen Feng, how many rescue spots did you apply for just now?" I glanced at him, didn't answer right away. Our squad originally had 10 members, now there are 2 more. His gaze pointedly glanced over at in the corner, sharing the last bit of chocolate. I followed his gaze, and saw Li Muyang affectionately holding Su Wanqing's shoulder, their heads together, whispering about something. Both had relaxed and happy smiles, unlike the other team members around, who, though hopeful, still remained vigilant. They were out of place. I withdrew my gaze, and nodded at Zhang. My voice was calm. "Yes, I applied for 11 spots." 11? Zhang was stunned, frowning deeply. "There are 12 of us here." His voice carried confusion and a hint of barely perceptible tension. "The squad's elite, plus Su Wanqing and Li Muyang. That's indeed 12 people. 11 spots. Means one person has to be left behind." I look at Lao Zhang, a cold smirk curls on his lips. He says softly, "Don't worry, Lao Zhang. The guys on the team, not one will be left behind. They can all get on board." Then, Lao Zhang becomes even more confused. But, I pause. My gaze shifts again to that pair of siblings who seem aloof. My tone carries a hint of amusement. "Some people, I'm afraid, won't be getting on the plane." Lao Zhang doesn't react at first. Then he sees the undisguised coldness in my eyes. And then he thinks of Su Wanqing, and the strange intimacy with Li Muyang, and the 11 spots I just mentioned. A thought, like a flash of lightning, flashes through his mind. He suddenly looks at those two, then looks at me. His eyes are full of shock. But soon, the shock turns into understanding, and a hint of complexity. "Captain, do you mean?" Lao Zhang's voice is hoarse. Simple. I smile, but that smile carries no warmth. 11 spots, 12 people, the 2 of them, are destined for only one to get on. Tell me, faced with the only path to survival, will they keep up their sibling affection, or will they turn against each other? Just then, we clearly heard Su Wanqing assure Li Muyang, "Brother Muyang, don't worry, I'll make sure you get on the plane." Chen Feng wouldn't dare disobey me. Li Muyang held her hand, moved. "Wanqing, you're the best to me. In this life, I'll never forget your kindness." Looking at Su Wanqing and Li Muyang, who were still promising to live and die together, completely unaware, The last bit of sympathy in his eyes disappeared. Only cold indifference remained. Old Zhang gasped, fully understanding my intentions. I looked at them, my heart growing even colder. Just wait, I can't wait to see, when the only escape is right in front of you. How long can you keep up that loving mask? Over the next few days, we stayed in that dark, damp bunker, waiting for rescue. I had old Zhang and Xiaoyu strictly ration supplies. Food and water were still plentiful, but we had to be thrifty. No one knew when rescue would actually arrive. The team members were all disciplined. Each person got only a small portion of crackers and water per day, silently enduring hunger and thirst, conserving energy. However, Su Wanqing and Li Muyang were a different story. They seemed convinced that rescue would come soon, so supplies weren't an issue. Su Wanqing gave most of her water to Li Muyang. Li Muyang found the crackers hard to swallow, took a couple of bites and tossed them aside. Seeing this, Su Wanqing actually went to Xiaoyu, who was distributing supplies, to ask for an extra portion. Her reason was that brother Muyang was weak and needed more nutrition. Xiaoyu refused outright, furious. Su Wanqing, the supplies belong to everyone. Everyone gets the same amount. Why should she get extra? Why are you so petty? Su Wanqing's eyebrows shot up. Brother Muyang is a man, so what if he eats a bit more? When rescue comes, then, he'll pay you back double. It's not about paying back. It's a matter of principle. Old Zhang couldn't take it anymore. He bellowed, "Principle? We're about to die, and you still talk about principle?" Su Wanqing sneered disdainfully, then turned to look at me, her tone laced with a whine and entitlement. "Chen Feng, look at them. Can't you say something to them? Brother Muyang is starving." Under the team members' almost blazing stares, I was silent for a few seconds, then slowly spoke, my voice carrying a faint hint of indulgence. "All right, Wanqing, say no more. Xiaoyu, next time, give them a little extra." At those words, not only the team members froze, even Su Wanqing and Li Muyang were stunned. Then Su Wanqing's face lit up with a triumphant, smug smile. She shot a defiant glare at Xiaoyu and old Zhang. "Chen Feng, you." Akai couldn't help but speak up, but old Zhang silenced him with a look. The team members looked at me, their eyes full of disappointment and confusion. They couldn't understand why the captain kept indulging over and over again. The woman who almost got the whole team killed, and her worthless brother. When Su Wanqing triumphantly returns with the extra food that was specially approved and comes back to Li Muyang's side, a few core team members couldn't help but go find old Zhang. "Vice Captain, what's wrong with the captain? Has he been bewitched by that woman Su Wanqing given a love potion?" Wang Meng said indignantly. "If this continues, before rescue even arrives, we'll be dragged down by those two good-for-nothings first." Old Zhang looked at the agitated team members, sighed, and said in a low voice, "Calm down, everyone. The captain has his own considerations. Trust me, he will never abandon any of us. For now, just bear with it." Although the team members were still full of doubts and dissatisfaction, their long-standing trust in old Zhang made them temporarily suppress their anger. However, the atmosphere in the shelter became even more delicate. The conflict between the team members and Su Wanqing and Li Muyang was like an undercurrent, ready to erupt at any moment. Su Wanqing, because of my favoritism, became even more emboldened and practically strutted around the shelter, turning a blind eye to the team's cold stares and silence. She just kept whispering with Li Muyang, the two of them fantasizing about the good life after reaching the safe zone. Time, in the midst of oppression and waiting, slowly passed. Late on the fourth night, just before the rescue was expected to arrive, I, old Zhang, Akai, and a few other core team members were in a corner quietly discussing the next action plan. Su Wanqing suddenly rushed over, with an abnormal flush and urgency on her face. "Chen Feng, give me the serum." She directly interrupted our meeting, extending her hand in front of me, with a forceful tone, leaving no room for negotiation. My heart sank. "Serum? Why would you suddenly need this?" "The serum." I stood up, frowning deeply, staring at her. "What do you need the serum for? Has someone been infected?" My gaze swept quickly across every team member present. "No, it's Mu Yang. He has a fever. His whole body is burning up. He must have caught the virus. Give me the serum, quick. I need to inject him immediately." Her words stunned everyone. "Su Wanqing, do you even know what you're saying? What that serum means? Don't you understand?" I looked at her, my eyes as cold as knives, and said each word deliberately. "Su Wanqing, this serum, codenamed Hope, was what our Dawnbreak squad, along with 17 top biologists, in the Fallen Laboratory, risked our lives to bring back the only successful sample. For it, our squad fought through zombie hordes multiple times. Professor Wang and his team with their last breath handed it to me. It is humanity's only spark of hope against this disaster. Its meaning is to save all human civilization. It's not for curing a common fever." The team members also chimed in, their voices agitated. When the lab exploded, Dr. Li's intestines came spilling out, but he still clung to the cooler. "This serum was bought with countless lives. It must never be used. To lure away the stalkers, we almost got wiped out on the road." Su Wanqing was bombarded by everyone's accusations, her face turning red and pale, but she stomped her foot, and screeched, "I don't care. Humanity's hope? What does it have to do with me? Right now, I just need Mu Yang to be okay. He has a fever. It's serious. Since this serum can kill the zombie virus, it must cure his illness too. I don't care what you say. You have to hand over the serum." Her unreasonable and selfish behavior infuriated everyone. "Su Wanqing, are you even human? For that useless guy, You want to destroy everyone's hope? Seeing that the situation was about to spiral out of control, Su Wanqing's eyes flashed with cruelty. She suddenly pulled out a gleaming military dagger from her boot. Stepping forward abruptly, she pressed the blade against my carotid artery. Everyone shut up. Bring out the serum, or I'll kill him right now. Su Wanqing, you dare? Let the captain go. The team members were shocked and angry. They all raised their weapons, but afraid to act rashly they held back. I looked at Su Wanqing, so close, her face twisted with madness and paranoia. I felt no fear, only cold mockery and absurd ridicule. In my past life, I was also deceived by her seemingly gentle appearance. I took risks for her again and again, even when she was surrounded by high-level mutants. I didn't hesitate to act as bait to lure the monsters away, nearly losing my life. To this day, my back still bears a hideous scar. I gave her the best I could offer. I trusted her, cared for her. But what did I get? In return, right now, she, for another man, holds a knife to my throat. My silence and cold eyes seemed to provoke Su Wanqing. She pressed harder with her wrist, the blade tight against my skin, and snapped, "Hurry, hand over the serum. I'll count to 3. 1. The team members stare at the knife pressed against my neck, angry and anxious, but powerless. Lao Zhang's face turns ashen, clenching his teeth, and finally closes his eyes heavily. He waves at Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu is in tears, extremely reluctant. From a special thermostatic safe, takes out the faintly blue-glowing spiral glass tube containing humanity's last hope. Su Wanqing snatches the serum, gives us a smug look, puts away the dagger, like a victor, turns and quickly strides toward Li Muyang in the corner. We watch helplessly as she takes that incredibly precious serum and roughly injects it into Li Muyang's body. It doesn't take long, and sure enough, Li Muyang's fever breaks. He slowly regains consciousness, his complexion much rosier. He sits up, looks around at the team members, their glaring eyes wishing they could tear him apart. Li Muyang forces a weak, apologetic smile onto his face. I'm sorry for causing everyone trouble. Thank you for saving me, especially Wanqing. Thank you. He offers insincere thanks, but his eyes dare not meet anyone's. The team members snort coldly, completely ignoring him. Only Su Wanqing, with a look of pain and relief, holds his hand. Brother Muyang, as long as you're okay, don't mention thanks. For you, I'd do anything. Watching Su Wanqing being sold out and still counting the money for them, then watching Li Muyang's fake act, I just felt a wave of nausea. Absolutely disgusting. Li Muyang, besides his silver tongue, what else does he have? In this life and the past, I gave so much for Su Wanqing, risked my life, but it can't compare to Li Muyang's few sweet nothings. How ironic. Before dawn, from above the bunker came the clear sound of helicopter rotors approaching. The sound grew louder, and finally hovered steadily right above us. Rescue is here. Everyone sprang into action, quickly packing up their gear. I confirmed our identity and the pickup signal through the communicator. Shortly after, the hidden exit on top of the bunker was opened from outside, and a rope ladder was lowered. Su Wanqing and Li Muyang were the quickest, rushing to the ladder almost instantly, scrambling to be the first to climb. Move it, I'm going first. Li Muyang shoved Su Wanqing aside. Muyang, you. Su Wanqing stumbled from the push, staring at him in disbelief. At that moment, 2 fully armed, rescue personnel in Dawn Base combat gear slid down the rope ladder, with swift, neat movements. One of them held an electronic tablet, scanning us with a cold gaze, verifying our identities. Those whose names are called will board in order. The rescuer's voice was completely emotionless. He began to call the roll. Chen Feng, Zhang Weiguo, Wang Meng, Akai, Zhao Xiaoyu. The names of the original 10 squad members were called one by one. They climbed the rope ladder one by one and boarded the vertical takeoff transport without any issues. After the last member's name was called, the rescuer closed the tablet. Su Wanqing and Li Muyang were dumbfounded. Wait, what about us? Su Wanqing shouted urgently. Yeah, us. Su Wanqing, Li Muyang. Did we get left off the list? Li Muyang also pushed forward. The terminal displayed the rescue list. Only 10 people. Su Wanqing wasn't on it, nor was Li Muyang's record. The rescuer gave them a cold look, opened his terminal again, scanned it once, shook his head. What? Su Wanqing was thunderstruck. Her face turned pale as a sheet. Li Muyang also panicked. He whipped his head around to look at me, his eyes filled with horror and accusation. At that moment, the team members already on the plane also poked their heads out to see what was happening below. Su Wanqing, as if clutching at straws, stumbled over to me, who had just climbed the rope ladder. She grabbed the hem of my combat uniform. Her voice, from extreme fear, became shrill and distorted. Chen Feng, what's going on here? Why are our names not on it? You promised you'd take us with you. You lied to me. I looked down at her, at the unprecedented panic and despair on her face, feeling no stir in my heart, only a cold calm. I said slowly, the rescue list was issued by the Supreme Command of Dawn Base, based on the core personnel list of Project Ember. Our Dawn squad, 10 of us, each of us is an indispensable technical expert in our respective fields. We're the sparks to rebuild civilization. So, the list only had 10 spots to begin with. Su Wanqing began to tremble violently, barely able to stand. I paused, looking into her desperate eyes. I continued. However, for the sake of our past feelings, I did plead with command. I stated how important you are. In Su Wanqing's eyes, a faint glimmer of hope reignited, but my next words plunged her into an icy abyss. In the end, command added one extra slot. I raised my index finger, making a one gesture. But there are 2 of you. My gaze swept over the pale-faced Li Muyang, then back to Su Wanqing's face. My tone was flat. So, today, the 2 of you only one can board. Only one can board, Su Wanqing murmured, repeating, as if she couldn't understand what that meant. The team members at the boarding gate now all understood. They remembered the past few days, all the actions of Su Wanqing and Li Muyang, and their touching deep affection. Many faces showed sneers and expressions of amusement. Some even quietly mimicked their earlier conversation. Brother Muyang, don't worry, I will make sure you get on the plane. Wanqing, you're the best to me, I'll never forget you in this life. Hurry up and decide. The plane can't stay long. If you don't board now, we're leaving, the rescuer urged impatiently. Su Wanqing's face was pale, her lips trembling. She looked at the rope ladder, then at the similarly terrified Li Muyang. Her eyes were conflicted, anguished, hesitant. She opened her mouth, and with a tearful voice said, I'm sorry, Li Muyang, Before she could finish, Li Muyang, who had been trembling in fear, suddenly flashed a look of cruelty and determination in his eyes. He suddenly shoved Su Wanqing, who was blocking his way, pushing her aside violently. Su Wanqing was caught off guard, screamed and fell to the ground. Li Muyang didn't even glance at her and dashed toward the rope ladder. Take me with you, take me with you. I'm a professional photographer. I've documented a lot of valuable post-apocalyptic data. I can be useful to the base, more useful than her. Su Wanqing is a useless woman. All she does is hold us back. She can't do anything. Take me with you, I'm more valuable than her. This sudden betrayal left everyone stunned. Su Wanqing sat on the ground, holding her scraped arms, staring in disbelief at the man who swore he loved her, and would take care of her forever. Now, just to survive, he was slandering her so viciously, discarding her like trash. Li Muyang. Su Wanqing let out a piercing scream, jumped up from the ground, like a mad lioness, and lunged at Li Muyang, who was halfway up the rope ladder, grabbing his leg tightly, yanking him down. Let go of me, crazy. Li Muyang, shocked and furious, kicked wildly. You bastard. You said you'd never leave me. You promised. Su Wanqing cried and screamed while hitting and scratching him. I was lying to you. Idiot, let go now. The 2 started fighting on the rope ladder, one desperately trying to climb up, the other pulling down with all her might. It was an ugly scene, the past affection and bond in the face of the only escape shattered so completely, so hideously. The team watched this dog-eat-dog drama, couldn't hold back anymore, and started mocking them. Oh, weren't you 2 gonna live and die together? Why are you fighting over it now? Li Muyang, weren't you saying last night that Wanqing is the most important person in your life? Su Wanqing, your good brother doesn't seem to want to take you. I think that's enough. If we keep messing around, we'll really delay the evacuation. So, I nodded to the rescuer, and said, fine, take them too. They were my teammates after all. The rescuer glanced at me, didn't ask any questions. He reached out and forcefully pulled the 2 apart and signaled for them to get on. In the end, Su Wanqing and Li Muyang both scrambled onto the plane in a mess. The cabin was spacious, but the team members huddled together voluntarily, leaving the 2 seats nearest the door for them. No one wanted to be near them. Su Wanqing sat in her seat, her hair disheveled, her clothes torn. On her face were still tear stains and bruises. She was lost and dazed. Li Muyang curled up in another corner, hugging his knees, not daring to look at anyone. The plane began to ascend, leaving this land of despair. After a while, Li Muyang seemed to come to his senses. He secretly glanced at Su Wanqing, his face once again wearing that usual, ingratiating and guilty expression. He carefully moved to Su Wanqing's side. Wanqing, I'm sorry, that was just a temporary measure. I wanted to get on first, and then find a way to save you. I didn't really mean to abandon you. You have to believe me. Su Wanqing's head shot up, her bloodshot eyes staring at him. Really, Wanqing, you've been so good to me. How could I be ungrateful? I was just too scared. A loud slap fiercely landed on Li Muyang's face. Su Wanqing used all her strength and hit Li Muyang's head to the side. A clear handprint instantly appeared on his face. Get lost. Su Wanqing squeezed out a word through gritted teeth. Wanqing, why can't you see how hard I'm trying? I really mean well for both of us. See, we both made it up here, didn't we? Unbelievably. Looking at Li Muyang, with that sincere, begging expression, the anger and hatred in Su Wanqing's eyes actually faded away bit by bit. What you said, is it true? You're not really trying to dump me? Of course it's true. I, Li Muyang, swear to heaven, if I lied even a bit just now, may I be struck by lightning, and die a miserable death. Wanqing, in this world, you are the only one who's ever been good to me. How could I ever let you down? Su Wanqing looked at him and slowly nodded. She began to sob softly. This scene made the team members watching the whole thing barely believe their eyes. Holy crap. She bought it. She actually bought it. Is this woman's brain eaten by zombies or something? Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Even old Zhang couldn't help glancing at me with a complicated look. I sneered inwardly. Su Wanqing, Su Wanqing, you're still the same as in your past life, completely defenseless against Li Moyang's lies. But it's fine. This is good too. That way my plan can move forward. I had planned to make them turn on each other, hate each other in despair. Didn't expect Su Wanqing to be so blindly devoted. But it doesn't matter. Let Li Muyang shatter her last illusions himself. Maybe that's even crueler. The team members whispered to me, we shouldn't have been kind enough to let them up. I waved my hand, without explaining. 3 days later, we arrived safely at the Dawn's safe base. Just like in my past life memories, the base was strictly hierarchical. Resources were allocated based on contribution and status. After strict disinfection and quarantine procedures, we were taken to the allocation center. As a core member of Project ARC, and with the merit of bringing back serum data, I was assigned a relatively spacious, fully equipped officers' quarters. The team members, based on their respective expertise and ranks, also got decent accommodations. When it came to distributing for Su Wanqing and Li Moyang, I whispered a few words to the logistics officer in charge beforehand. So, the two of them were only assigned a small cubicle in a noisy, mixed-gender dormitory barracks on the base's perimeter. Inside, there were only 2 narrow cots, with almost no privacy. The daily food ration was just the bare minimum to survive, a piece of dry, hard black bread and a small cup of water. When Su Wanqing saw the accommodation and food assigned to her, she blew up on the spot. Chen Feng, what do you mean, making us stay in a place like this and eat this kind of food? She rushed up to me, pointed at my nose and demanded, I'm your fiancé, how could you treat me like this? And, men and women living together, what kind of nonsense is that? I stared at her coldly, with no warmth in my eyes. Fiancé, from the moment you held a knife to my throat and stole the serum, you stopped being one. As for the accommodation, the base is short on resources. It's good enough to have a roof over our heads. Anyway, you and Li Muyang are inseparable. Isn't it perfect to live together? Su Wanqing was choked by my words. Seeing my icy stare, a flicker of panic crossed her face. Her tone instantly softened. She began to plead with a crying voice. Chen Feng, I'm sorry. I realize I was wrong. At that time, I was too worried about Li Muyang. I was confused for a moment. Can you forgive me? I will live well with you from now on. I only have you. She tried to grab my hand, but I ruthlessly shook her off. Feelings? I sneered, my gaze sharp. Su Wanqing, you talked to me about feelings when you wasted that serum. Did you ever think of the researchers who gave their lives for it? Did you ever think it could have been the hope to save millions? Our bond was already broken the moment you put a knife to my throat for Li Muyang. It was completely severed. I looked at her instantly, pale face, and drew a line, word by word. From now on, you are you, I am me. Take care of yourself. After saying that, I ignored her, turned around and left with my team members. Su Wanqing stood there stunned, watching our retreating backs. She looked down at the dry piece of black bread in her hand, and compared it to the comfortable dormitory I had just assigned. A huge sense of disparity and regret welled up in her heart. For the first time, she clearly realized that she seemed to have lost something very important. Li Muyang then came closer, seeing Su Wanqing's dazed look, and then looked at the bread in her hand. His face was also full of disgust, but he suppressed it and comforted her. Wanqing, don't be sad. Chen Feng has changed. He's not worth your tears. Don't worry, I'll be here for you from now on. When I find an opportunity and make a contribution, we'll definitely get a better place to live. I'll make sure you live a good life. If it were before, hearing such a promise from Li Muyang, Su Wanqing would have been deeply moved. But now, listening to this empty promise, looking at the terrible reality before her, and recalling Li Muyang's betrayal on the plane, for the first time, doubt and hesitation arose in her heart. But looking at Li Muyang's sincere eyes, she finally nodded and whispered, Muyang, I believe you. We rested at the safe base for about half a month. During this time, relying on my past life memories and my current technical authority, I quickly integrated resources, re-equipped, and trained the squad. And using my foreknowledge, I helped the base handle several moderate crises, further solidifying my position. Su Wanqing and Li Muyang, on the other hand, lived in dire straits. The collective barracks were harsh, food was scarce, Li Muyang couldn't endure hardship at all, complaining all day long. Although Su Wanqing also regretted, she still seemed to harbor unrealistic fantasies about Li Muyang. The two comforted each other in their hardship, their relationship becoming somewhat delicate. Not long after, Base Command issued a new high-priority mission to a location 200 kilometers from the base, an underground biological research institute. Confirm and retrieve any existing, backup serum research data and samples. Contact was lost there early in the apocalypse. It's said to be swarming with mutated zombies, extremely dangerous. The mission comes with a high bounty. The team that successfully brings back the data samples, all members will receive the highest grade supplies, rations and housing privileges. This news naturally reached Su Wanqing and Li Muyang's ears. The highest grade treatment. For the two who were still struggling to get by and living in a communal barracks, It was undoubtedly a huge temptation. After getting the news, the two hid in a corner of the barracks and whispered conspiratorially, "Muyang, this is our only chance to turn things around." Su Wanqing's eyes shone with a glimmer of desire. "As long as we get that serum data, we'll be set for life. No more kowtowing to others, no more living in this dump." Li Muyang was also somewhat excited, but more than anything, he was scared. "But I heard it's really dangerous over there. What's there to be afraid of?" Su Wanqing dismissed it. "Aren't Chen Feng and his team going? Their squad will definitely go. We just need to follow them and play it by ear." With our relationship, Su Wanqing still thought she and I were a couple. Based on what I know about Chen Feng, as long as we humble ourselves and beg him, he'll definitely take us along. Li Muyang's eyes lit up. "That's right, we can use Chen Feng and have him be our bodyguard. Once we find the stuff, we'll..." He made a grabbing gesture. A greedy smile spread across his face. "Exactly. Let's do it." Su Wanqing made up her mind. "Tomorrow we'll go find Chen Feng." Early the next morning, when our Dawn squad had packed our gear and was about to set out, Su Wanqing and Li Muyang did indeed come knocking. The two had changed into some relatively clean old clothes they'd scrounged up, their faces full of ingratiating smiles. "Chen Feng." Su Wanqing strode up to me, her tone deliberately gentle and apologetic. "Are you heading out on a mission? Take us with you. We know we were wrong. We've been terrible in the past. Give us a chance to make it up to you, okay?" Li Muyang quickly chimed in. "Yeah, Captain Chen Feng. We may not be strong fighters, but we can help carry supplies, stand watch, do whatever. One more person means one more bit of strength, right? Besides, I studied photography before, and I'm pretty sensitive to building structures. Maybe I can be of help." Team members seeing their hypocritical faces, I can't help but get angry. Akai sneers, "Help? You're just making things worse." "Help? Making things worse? Last time's lesson wasn't enough?" "Exactly, taking you along. Are you tired of living?" Su Wanqing's eyes reddened instantly. She looked at me aggrievedly. "Chen Feng, look at them. We really want to make it up. Just give us a chance. I promise. This time I'll definitely listen to you. I won't cause any trouble." I looked at them, sneered inwardly. Just like in my past life, they're planning to use me again. "Fine. I was just worried I wouldn't have a chance to deal with you." Under the confused gaze of the team, I pondered for a moment, then nodded. "Okay, follow me." Chen Feng. Old Zhang couldn't help wanting to dissuade. I raised my hand to stop him, gave him a wink. Whispered, "Don't worry, I have a plan." "Perfect. We need 2 sacrificial pawns to scout. At the critical moment they can be used as a rear guard." Old Zhang was stunned for a moment, then understood what I meant. With a complicated look, he glanced at Su Wanqing and Li Muyang and said no more. Although the other team members were discontent seeing my firm attitude, they could only swallow their anger. Su Wanqing and Li Muyang, seeing that I really agreed, were overjoyed, hurriedly followed at the back of the team, boarded the transport vehicle. Su Wanqing deliberately squeezed into the seat next to me, trying to strike up a conversation. "Chen Feng, you must be tired from the journey. You look thinner." She took out a small cloth bag. From inside, she took out a well-preserved cookie with cute patterns and handed it to me. Su Wanqing's face showed shyness and expectation. "I saved this specially, try it. I remember you used to love this brand of cookies." I looked at the cookie. I felt nothing inside. I even found it a bit ridiculous. In my past life, I was won over by her little favors and seemingly meticulous care. Looking back now, it was just her way of winning people over. Deputy Team Leader Old Zhang, sitting on my other side, coldly reminded me, "Captain, be careful." Su Wanqing immediately, like a cat whose tail was stepped on, looked at Old Zhang with grievance. "Deputy Zhang, what do you mean? Would I ever harm Chen Feng? I just care about him." As she spoke, tears began to well up in her eyes again. I didn't take the cookie. I just closed my eyes and said calmly, "No thanks. Keep it for yourself. Get some rest. There's a long road ahead." Su Wanqing's hand froze in midair. The expression on her face instantly hardened. She sheepishly withdrew the cookie. In her look towards Old Zhang, there was a barely noticeable malice. The rest of the journey was silent. The convoy sped along a desolate, broken road. Occasionally, we encountered small groups of zombies, which we easily took care of. A day later, we reached our destination. The research institute was hidden in a barren mountain. The entrance was a huge metal door disguised as a mine entrance, but it was heavily damaged, revealing a dark, deep tunnel behind it. The air was thick with the smell of blood and rot, but strange enough, it was eerily quiet around. No zombies in sight. "Stay alert. Move in alternating formation." I gave the order. The squad formed a tactical formation and cautiously entered the tunnel. Su Wanqing and Li Muyang followed closely in the middle of the team, looking around nervously. Inside the tunnel was a mess. Everywhere were dried bloodstains, broken equipment, and scattered documents. The walls were covered with bullet holes and huge claw marks, indicating a fierce battle had taken place here. But as the intel said, we encountered no zombies. We followed the map directions all the way down and arrived deep underground at the main lab area. In the center of the lab, a huge cryogenic storage cabinet is clearly visible. The door is sealed tight. The indicator light on it is still blinking faint green. "This is it." Tech Sergeant Liu steps forward to check. The cryo system is still partially running. "There might be what we need inside." I signal everyone to stay alert and step forward myself, entering the backup access code we got from the base. A soft beep, the door unlocks. I slowly pull open the heavy door. A cold white mist pours out. As the mist clears, I can see neatly arranged inside are several blue spiral glass tubes and a few labeled hard drives, serum samples and research data. Just as I reach in to grab them, Li Muyang, who had been following behind, with shifty eyes, suddenly dashes forward. Captain, such important items should be kept by me. I promise to guard them with my life. He shouts lofty words, but his hand darts toward the serum and the data drives. A cold glint flashes in my eyes, but I don't stop him. Instead, I hand the items over to him, while shifting my body slightly, as if pushed aside by him. Li Muyang grabs the serum and data drives and hugs them to his chest. His face instantly shows ecstasy and greed. He got them. However, the next second after he clutches them, he does something no one expects. He suddenly raises his foot and kicks hard at the wall. A inconspicuous red emergency button. Clang! A piercing alarm immediately echoes through the underground space. At the same time, deep in the lab, a heavy isolation door that was sealed, a heavy blast door. The moment Li Muyang kicks the button, slams open upward, revealing a dense crowd, packed together, mutant zombies of all shapes. Terrifying roars rush toward us. The whole lab trembles. Akai's eyes were blazing with fury. He aimed his gun at Li Muyang. He roared, "Li Muyang, what the hell are you doing?" Wang Meng and the others instantly snapped to attention, their guns aimed at the traitor. Li Muyang, holding the serum and data, scrambled to a high metal platform on one side of the lab. There was an emergency exit there. He stood at the edge of the platform, looking down at us, trapped by the zombie horde, a vicious, triumphant grin on his face. Li Muyang laughed wildly and said, "Why? To take all the credit for myself, of course. With this, I can skyrocket in the base. Who cares if you live or die?" Su Wanqing, only now, fully understood what was happening. She looked up at Li Muyang, and let out a desperate scream. "Muyang, you! Save me! Take me with you!" Li Muyang glanced down at her, his eyes cold, full of contempt and mockery. He said, "Take you?" Su Wanqing, don't dream. You think I really like you? If it weren't for your connection to Chen Feng, and the chance to get close to him through you, to get intel and resources, would I have bothered with a brainless fool like you? All you do is hold us back. What else can you do? Just stay here and feed the zombies. Aha! Li Muyang's true words stabbed deep into Su Wanqing's heart. She trembled violently, her face pale, her lips quivering, but unable to utter a word. She just looked at Li Muyang with a completely broken, desperate gaze. Akai roared, "You bastard, I'll kill you," and pulled the trigger toward Li Muyang. Rat-tat-tat, bullets hit the metal platform, sparking a shower of sparks, but were blocked by the thick structure. Li Muyang flinched in fear, but when he saw the bullets couldn't reach him, he got cocky again. He turned and ducked into the escape passage, disappearing from sight. At that moment, the zombie horde was already upon us. I gave the order immediately. Engage, form a circle defense. The team members swallowed their rage at Li Muyang and their contempt for Su Wanqing, quickly forming a defensive circle. They opened fire with all they had. Boom, 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 rat-tat-tat. Gunfire, explosions, the roars of zombies, and the angry shouts of the team members immediately filled the entire lab. These mutated zombies were extremely fast, incredibly strong, and seemed to have some organization. They charged at us from different directions. The battle was bloody and intense. Su Wanqing seemed utterly shattered by the sudden turn of events and Li Muyang's betrayal. She stood there frozen, until a clawed zombie lunged at her. She screamed, rolled instinctively, and narrowly dodged the attack. A team member fired a shot, blowing the zombie's head off. With our superior gear and coordinated teamwork, we fought and retreated, sustaining only 2 minor injuries, and finally made it back to the lab entrance. We used explosives to temporarily seal the passage, blocking the zombies' pursuit. With a moment of safety, everyone's eyes fell on Su Wanqing, who was sitting on the floor, dazed and lost. Old Zhang strode over, without any hesitation, and slapped her hard across the face. "You idiot, look at what you've done. Look at the scumbag you protected." Old Zhang's voice trembled with rage. "For a piece of trash like him, how many people have you gotten killed? Are you happy now?" Su Wanqing's head was knocked to the side. Her face instantly turned red and swollen, but she seemed to feel no pain. She just covered her face and sobbed. She begged incoherently, I'm sorry, I didn't know he would do this. Chen Feng, save me, I know I was wrong, I really know I was wrong." I walked up to her, looking down at her. There wasn't a trace of sympathy in my eyes, only utter coldness and indifference. "Su Wanqing," my voice was terrifyingly calm, "I gave you many chances. From the evacuation point to the shelter, to the plane, even just now, I tolerated you time and again, indulged you, not because I still cared about you, but just to see how far your stupidity and selfishness would go." I crouched down, looking straight into her tearful eyes. I declared word by word, "Now, I see clearly, you should be awake too. Li Muyang never loved you. He was just using you. And you, for a piece of trash like him, betrayed the teammates who truly cared about you, wasted one of humanity's last hopes. Between us, it was over long ago, and from the moment you helped Li Muyang lure these zombies, almost getting everyone killed, you, Su Wanqing, have completely lost the qualification to be my teammate and a member of Dawn Base. Su Wanqing listened to my words, the color drained from her face little by little, the last glimmer in her eyes went out completely, leaving only boundless despair and silence. No, Chen Feng, please, she still tried to make a final struggle, but I had already stood up, no longer looking at her. Clean up the battlefield, prepare to evacuate. I ordered the team members. We quickly gathered the remaining ammo, treated the wounds of the injured. Old Zhang used a spare line he found, barely contacted the base's escort convoy, reported the situation, and informed them of our evacuation route and rendezvous point. When we walked out of the institute and boarded the off-road vehicle that came to pick us up, Su Wanqing also stumbled out. She looked at us with a final glimmer of hope on her face. I sat in the passenger seat, rolled down the window, took one last look at her. Su Wanqing, my voice came through the window, cold and resolute. For the sake of our last bit of history, I won't kill you, but you, take care of yourself. With that, I nodded to the driver. Drive. No, Chen Feng, don't leave me, take me with you, please. I know I was wrong, I really know I was wrong. Deputy Captain Lao Zhang looked in the rearview mirror at the stumbling figure growing smaller as it chased after them. Until she tripped on a dirt slope, couldn't get up anymore, completely disappeared. He looked away, glanced at my expressionless profile, hesitated for a moment, then still asked, Captain, you really let it go? I looked at the road stretching ahead, and asked back, Lao Zhang, what do you think? Lao Zhang was silent for a moment, nodded, sighed. It's good to let go, a woman like that, isn't worth it. He paused, a worried look returned to his face. But, that bastardly Muyang took the serum and the data. What if he actually brings them back to the base? With that smooth tongue of his. I'm afraid, he muttered to himself, worried. If he can bring it back safely, even though the credit goes to him, but at least for the human survivors, it's still good news, I suppose. Hearing Lao Zhang's words, a faint, barely noticeable smile curved the corner of my mouth. I said nothing. I simply took from the tactical backpack I was carrying, from an inconspicuous side pocket, a palm-sized container with a faintly blinking operational indicator, a specialized temperature-controlled storage case. I gently placed it on my lap, and patted it. Lao Zhang's eyes were immediately drawn to it. He stared wide-eyed at the case, then looked at me. His face is full of shock and disbelief. Just then, not far ahead on the roadside, a few wandering zombies appeared. They seemed drawn by the engine noise, slowly turning around. However, among those zombies, we spot a familiar figure. It's Li Muyang. He looks absolutely miserable now. One leg seems injured, covered in blood. He limps and stumbles as he runs. His clothes are torn and ragged. He clutches the box containing the serum and data tightly to his chest, being chased and cornered by those zombies. When he sees our convoy, it's like he's found salvation. A look of ecstasy spreads across his face, waving desperately at us, shouting at the top of his lungs, Chen Feng, Captain Chen, save me, please save me. The convoy slowly comes to a stop, but doesn't get too close. Li Muyang gets even more agitated seeing us stop. He drags his injured leg, trying to run toward us. At the same time, he raises the box and threatens loudly, Chen Feng, save me, or I'll destroy the serum and data. No one gets it. Without it, you won't be able to explain yourselves back at base. The team members are shocked and furious. They all raise their guns at him. Li Muyang, you son of a bitch, put it down. If you dare destroy the serum, I'll tear you apart. Li Muyang looks utterly manic, clutching the box for dear life. His finger rests on what looks like a detonator button. Come on, shoot, we'll all go down together. Save me, take me back to base, or no one gets out of this. The standoff lingers. I look at him, at the end of his rope, still trying to threaten me in his pathetic state. I slowly push open the door and step out. In my hand, I hold the specially made incubator, no bigger than the palm of my hand. I speak calmly to Li Muyang. Li Muyang, are you sure? The serum and data you're holding are real? The madness and triumph on Li Muyang's face instantly froze. He stared at me in disbelief, then looked down at the box in his arms. He stammered, what do you mean? I raised the small cooler in my hand, opened it just a crack, letting him see what lay quietly inside, a glowing blue spiral glass tube, and the familiar portable hard drive, the physically isolated backup of the Institute's core database, and the last 3 vials of uncontaminated original serum samples. My voice was crystal clear, it's been here all along. I watched Li Muyang's face turn pale, like he'd seen a ghost. I continued, as for what you're holding, it's just a high-quality replica I prepared in advance, placed out in the open to distract you, along with some worthless discarded experiment logs. Do you think I'd be stupid enough to entrust humanity's last hope to someone like you? No, impossible. You're lying to me. You're lying. Li Muyang completely broke down. He frantically tore at the box in his arms, trying to verify if it was real. And in that moment of distraction, the few zombies surrounding him had already pounced on him. Help, Shenfeng, save me. I'll give you all the credit, save me. The blood-curdling scream abruptly stopped, replaced by the gnashing sound of tearing flesh, and the noise of flesh being ripped apart. Li Muyang's body was tackled to the ground by several zombies, and in an instant, he was overwhelmed. The box he was holding fell to the ground, and was casually crushed under a zombie's foot. What came out were indeed just empty vials and some ordinary electronic parts. The team watched in silence at first, then erupted into an uncontrollable mix of cheers and curses. Serves him right, Karma, Captain, you're a genius. You had it swapped all along. Old Zhang let out a long sigh of relief. He looked at me, his eyes full of admiration and lingering fear. Shenfeng, you knew he was no good from the start. I didn't answer, I just silently closed the cooler in my hands and said calmly, clean this up, let's go home. We made it back to base safely. The intact serum samples and core research data we brought back were immediately sent to the highest level biolab for analysis and follow-up research. This was invaluable for humanity's understanding of the zombie virus, and for the future development of a real vaccine or cure. It had immeasurable value. The base's high command gave high praise to my abilities and contributions. In light of my key role in Project Spark and my outstanding performance in this operation, I was promoted above the normal grade to commander of the base Special Operations Force, with the rank of colonel. I was put in charge of 3 elite tactical squads, including the Dawn Squad, and directly involved in the base's high-level strategic decisions. Old Zhang, Akai, Wang Meng, Xiao Yu, and other original Dawn Squad members were also promoted and commended for their achievements. They became the backbone of the newly formed Special Operations Force. We had better equipment, higher clearance, and more important responsibilities. As for Su Wanqing and Li Muyang, they were like stones thrown into the water. In the vast system of the base, they didn't stir a single ripple. No one cared where they went, and no one remembered they ever existed.